Hi guys, welcome to another session. This session is a bit different to tonight, or this video. I had some technical difficulties and my session didn't actually record. So basically I'm just going to review the notes that I did and explain some of the impressions that I received and hopefully provide some opinion as to the link that I've given it to the feedback site. And and hopefully it should be a lot shorter than what the actual session was. So let's get on with it. So this is the admin page. We've got 080220, intent show me the target or images from the target with numbers 080220 from the crvviewer.com website. Physical state, emotional state, and my doodle, which I didn't really start. I just did the actions, and it was Monday, May 13th, 2024, 5 p.m. Let's kick into it. So upon doing the ideogram here, what I found was, what have I written? Detected spots and areas of cold around my back and like a coat of cold putting on a jacket. Yeah, so basically I had areas where there were distinct different feelings, but mostly the feeling was, it felt like if you had a coat or a blanket made out of cool mist and you were to put that on your back, that's basically the impression that I got when I did the trace on this ideogram. I noticed there's some symmetry inside the ideogram as well, or the gestalts that are represented here. So I was sort of thinking, usually when I get ideograms or gestalts which sort of have symmetry involved, it relates to the target. There's some sort of symmetry involved with the target as well, which in this case was the Loch. In this case, so as we know, or I will show, is the pictures of the Loch that exist and what it looks like, how it works, and that sort of thing. I'll put the pictures up around this, and as I go through each of the different topics, I'll bring up the picture which I think might be associated with it or that I might be talking about, and we'll go from there. Did my trace. I went for 1, 2, and 3. 1 being object, subject, structure, land, scene. Scenes touch 1, so cold left side of face, cold air, coldness radiating from source. Yeah, so I found the first touch impression was very cold. It was on the left side of my face, and it felt like the coldness was coming from somewhere else and it was hitting my face, so hence the word radiating to my face, or really it was just sort of not blasted, but slowly coming down on the face, real cold. Don't know what it was. I've got the head here with its coldness being exchanged from the source, cold source, onto my face there. Touch 2, so this one was a bit different. I felt something structural around my body. It felt like it went over my arms, over my shoulders, underneath my arms and around my back. Hence why you can see my arms and shoulders here, and it coming around my back and going through that side, coming back over my shoulders. So I found that shape quite strongly. I could feel it. It felt like a snake wrapping around me, sort of thing. And that was touch 2. Touch 3. Now this was weird after feeling the curves and the curvatures and then of touch 2, is I felt panels, like flatness, like flat surface. What have I written here? When probing arms, arms flattened out, like they wanted to flatten out. You know, that they transformed into a flat surface. What I've got here, structure on back. Oh yeah, I can feel it on my back as well. Hand panel float strong, flat and strong. Those are the descriptors. When probing arms, tingle, flatten out, flat shaped, spread out feeling from both arms. Feeling of spreading out, wide area, spread out. All right, so inside the photos, I think you can see of the Loch. The only things that are really flat are the ends of that Loch where it's spinning, and it's of that teardrop type shape. But if you turn it on its side, it's flat. It has flat surface and that sort of thing. There's flat surfaces in the actual structure itself as well. So I'm thinking along those lines that it might be actually trying to represent the flatness of some of those panels in that structure. I'm not entirely sure, but that was my mapping to it, to those impressions that I gave it. Texture 1, so it feels like arm is exposed to air current, skin-like. So yeah, so texture 1, basically surface area of the target, what it feels like, what it's doing. Target open to air, yeah, it could be outside, it could be air blowing across it. Skin feels hard, structural, exposed to air, outside. So I'm describing the surface of the target, hard and structural, which we see as the Loch itself. Complicated, flat, cool, hard. Object is dense, exposed to air. So, yep. Structurals, flat, blocky, cold, hard, smooth, thin. The legs feel the above feelings. Legs feel the above feelings on top of thighs. So all that was happening in my arms was also happening in the top of my thighs. So that flatness, that flat surface kind of feel. Hence drawing it here with my stick figure. All right. Texture 3. Now this is where I felt in my face that it was sort of like being pressed in, like it was being like something was pressing it in, like a funnel of some kind. Face feels squeezed in, feels like hands squeezing my face with a bit of smile. Shoulders also feel angled, engineered, designed, purposed, intentional. So I think that's the teardrop shape coming through from the ends of the Loch or that device, which moves it from one level to another. I think it was feeling that shape of that particular target, I believe. You'll see the pictures showing up. Oop. Okay, we've got temp 1. Breathing hot air, warmth spot in middle back, feel cool around body. Breathing out hot air felt, warmth from my exhalation. So yeah, this was really weird. I could feel the coolness around my body, but I felt like a warm spot. I thought it was, it could be a person. Usually when I feel the presence of people, or I feel their warmthness, I don't want to call it their soul or anything like that. It just feels, you can feel their energy, and it feels like warmth amongst the coolness, and that's what I thought. But what was really striking was my breathing. I noticed the temperature of my breathing when I breathed out. It was just hot, and it felt that hotness was sort of more than what my hot breath was feeling. Like when I breathed it out, it felt more hot air than the hot air I was breathing out. It just felt like more, and hence the emphasis of breathing out, because every time I exhaled, it just felt like more hot air was coming out, more than what I was breathing out. And I could sense it through my nose, like my nose was getting warm, and the front of my face was getting warm, and it was going, and if you can feel that hot air, it just felt like it was more, a lot warmer than what it was. So that was definitely an impression that I wanted to record. as far as breathing out. And from what I understand on reading the bridge, it does have a motor which does is the mechanism to turn that bridge, turning that bridge around. So either that warm spot could be the motor, or the engineering or the energetics behind the bridge operating, which I'm starting to incline that it probably is, and having that breath is probably the motor, maybe exhausting hot air through its operation. Anyway, that's temp 1. Temp 2, so here, cold structured line down back. So yeah, it felt like a cold rigid structure was going down my back, and I could feel that definite sense of a line down my back. Here I can cold structure down back, body radiating warmth. So I was feeling warm. Why? I do not know. Even with the feedback now, I'm still struggling as to what could that be. Really? Could that be the boat in the water? I thought the water would have been cold and, maybe the water's warm. I don't know what that could be. That's really weird. Body radiating warmth coming from body. The warmth radiating out the side. So yeah, I'm not too sure what that could be representing. Either that is the boat system, or the structure itself. That's one I'm not really sort of worrying about. If it's the structure of the lock itself, I can imagine that being that mechanism which is spinning, but I don't know what could be radiating heat, whether or not it could be a sunny day and it's just feeling the warmth of the sun. So yeah, meh. Okay, temp 3, warmness felt like a warm arm supporting. So I had a support beam wrapped around my back. Not unlike the earlier impression where I felt like the snake was wrapped around my arms and my back and my shoulders again. This one was just my back, and yeah, it was warm. It was really warm. Even with the pictures, I'm not too sure what that warmness could be represented by. So yeah, if I'm the structure, then something is warm on the structure. Maybe it's a warm day. I'm not too sure. Not enough information, guys. The colours. So with colours, I don't worry too much about the colours of the pictures. Overall, they sort of get it. There's always something that's represented. And the way I do colours is I just wait for the colours to sort of appear when my eyes are closed. They saturate where I'm looking with my eyes closed. It sort of saturates with colour, and that's the colour I choose. A lot of the time, when I'm quite specific, it's right. So, but a lot of the time, it's neither here or there, because you could put any colour in. It's almost anywhere on the picture. So with accuracy, not so much, but as far as getting the colours that are in the picture, that's the important bit. Not choosing colours that aren't there, but actually choosing colours that are there and noticeable. And if you can get that, that's colours. For me anyway. The next would be to have shapes and everything else across it, but we'll get that state later. Smell. All right, smell 1. Feels like sitting in a field of flowers. Yeah, that was really nice. It really did feel like I was sitting in amongst like a meadow, hills are alive, Sound of Music sort of meadow, flowers, and you're just sort of there and you can smell it. So that was really the field of flowers feeling, was the sitting in a summery meadow sort of feel. Fine smells, yeah, I could smell summer. You can smell the insects, you can smell pollen, you can smell that sort of that sort of field. So where this is situated, it looks like it's in a forest, but it's got a clearing which looks like a meadow. So I'm taking that as a plus, as a affirmation of what my body felt, as recognizing that's a meadow. So if my body returns that feedback to me as this feeling, a field of flowers, that's the feeling I've mapped to the meadow type situation. So the expectation, I suppose, is if I get that meadow in the target, that it will give me that field of flowers sort of feeling again. And I've initially trapped it with this impression right now. So that's cool. Fine smell, scent, faint. Yeah, there was like a scent. I don't know. I couldn't round it out to a flowery scent or a food scent. It just felt like a scent, but I couldn't nail it down. Thick smell, so breathing wasn't fully free and easy. It felt like there was something in the air. Really, it was the thick smell was the humidity. Was it humid? Was it around water? That sort of stuff. So I usually get that around water, is that humid type smell. You can smell the water in the air. That's smell 1. Smell 2, massive wood smell, lots. Well, that's it. It smelled like the wood smell came through real strong. It was like I'm sitting in a workshop, woodwork, and all we're doing is cutting pine, and I could smell like wood left, right, and centre. And that's what it felt like in the probe. And in the feedback, I see it's in the middle of the forest or whatever. I think that's the gist of it, really, isn't it? Is, okay, could be meadow, could be forest. You get a lot of wood smells. Is that a forest type situation? Blah blah blah. That's the analysis. So yeah, massive wood smell, forest. Could be a map. It is my map now. I fully believe it. So humid came up again. It was real thickly, not open air, breathe easy. Lots of air exposure. So I can understand it's being exposed to outside stink smell. Not sure what stink smell. That could be like the river, whatever river it is. Can have a scent. Not breathe easy, hindered. So yeah, so maybe it's humid day, dank day. Maybe they have humid days. I don't know. Those are the mappings that I've created anyway. Lots of air exposure. Smell 3 smells like construction site, wood smell. Just more wood smell. Cold breath, thick air. Just more of the same, really. Construction site, so there's definitely buildings and that sort of thing on site. I think we can pretty much safely say that. Cold breath, definitely cold. Air's thick. I wonder what it's thick with. Here 1. So we've got bottom, back, left of head, structural, something coming out. So I could feel something coming out the back of my head. I tried to draw it, but it only came out so far before I lost any sort of feeling of it. Maybe it ended, maybe it didn't. I'm not too sure. Structure coming out of head, back left. Structural has something coming out. Now I'm starting to incline that this is probably the loch itself, the gondola, I suppose you can call it. So it's got 2 gondolas, one's on the top river, one's on the bottom, and they swap around. So this is either a gondola or it could be representing something of a tubular nature. It looks tubular just by the shape that I've drawn. What have we got here? Here 2. So hearing sort of gives me sort of 3D structural information about a target. That's why I sort of keep drawing here. Here's one of my favorite because it sort of gets me to the shape of the thing that I'm trying to target. Here 2. So I've got curves, I've got a point, I've got something spreading out of my arm structurally. So I think that sort of suits the panels on each side of the gondola that take that teardrop looking shape. I'm thinking that I can feel the shapes of those sides of that lock coming down from head, spreading down, arms and out, basically. Here 3. So this was a hard one to explain. I had to do several drawings to sort of get it in my head what I was feeling. So, you know, doing the first picture, it felt like an itch, but it didn't feel like I scratched the itch right. You know, I had to keep scratching it. So my second drawing was, you know, it was out. It needed to spread out more. So I drew things a bit more straight. No, it didn't work out right. So I ended up with this one here, which was a circle, and this circular thing in the middle. Now, if you look at the site, there's actually a massive circular pond, which all this contraption stuff is in the middle of. And I'm just wondering if that, one, the itching of getting the correct picture where your body was satisfied with what you expressed, I think this is sort of an example of that, where you get like, oh, this was my part 1, yeah, spreading out, tingly surface. Usually when things tingle with me, it means that it's in motion, that it's moving at the target site. And that tingling is the symptom of it moving, because it's your body's keeping track of it and it's moving and it's changing things in your body. Hence the tingling and motion and that sort of thing. Now, trying to get it out, still tingling, but here, now that I see it in this shape and I see the shape of this and the tingling nature of this shape, I do believe it's that lake, or that where the lock is located, where you've got this thing there and it's sopping around, blah, blah, blah. Because water would also produce that sort of tingling sensation, and I recognize that as well. So I understand that tingling means constant movement, which means either it's some sort of parachute type material that flaps in the wind and it's always moving, something that is in the motion of the wind, that's constantly moving is water, wind against stuff, all that kind of stuff, tingling. That's basically it. Air or water, that's what I've got here. So circular pond, water, I think I was feeling the site. Now the first join, I've got nothing, I couldn't feel anything. Join 2, momentarily, built up release and excitement. Just a moment of excitement. It sort of built up, then it went, finished again. Tiredness. Not sure. Maybe it was me. Laughter. Breathing felt like it was interrupted by a laughing breath. So what I mean by that is when I tried to breathe and concentrate on the probe, I was going, it wasn't a constant, constant breath. Don't know. It is puzzling as to what that could be. I'm not too sure. So we'll just leave that to be decided later. But the second join, not really hitting any marks for me, really. The third one hit a mark. All right. So what I've got here is I had my body, and I felt this. It felt like I was wearing. I was in a like a tube in water, and you pop your body through the middle hole, and it's supporting the upper body, and it's rising with the water and that sort of thing. Well, this tube felt like a lump of anxiety, and it was height. That's the signal I got, was height, and for some reason it lifted me up. And it wanted to lift me high, hence the arrows of lifting, and it just felt like height was involved in this impression. So what have I written? Anxiety rising, lifting of body, height felt, body feel light, weight, weightless. So, yeah, it didn't feel body feels light. Okay, weight is weightless. Butterflies in stomach. So it had that height in it. I get that butterflies when we go over those jumps in the car sort of thing. So I had a bit of nervousness in my stomach, and I get that around. It's synonymous with a little bit of height, that sort of feeling around heightness. I don't think I have a height issue. I'm actually okay with heights, but I can feel it. I'm okay with the feeling of it. It's extreme and that sort of stuff, but I love it. Nervousness in shoulders, upper back felt. So yeah, that's that feeling, that big floaty feeling of wanting to lift me up, lift my being up. And that's where I got the height from. I knew it had something to do with height, because those feelings are synonymous with the height side of things. Okay, next page, number 6. Revered. Okay, so this is snapshot 1. Path, follow, road. So that's all I got. Yeah, nothing much to it. Veered to the right. Number 2, I got sort of a hole and some structures holding the hole. I didn't have any feelings as to whether I was going into it or anything like that. Nothing at all. That was fine. This one here, I wrote at the time, I did not know what this could mean. But when I saw the diagram that's on the website for the feedback and these 3 cylinders, and then when I drew this, I did not know what I was drawing, so that's hence why the question marks. But you follow the rules, you just draw it. You get the answer later. So I drew it, and I drew this thing that was going over it, and I drew an arrow saying that it was going that way. And when I saw the picture, actually I'll just turn this upside down because it'll save me having to edit it. So this sort of looks like one of the pictures from the website, where it's taken a picture where it's got 3 circles and it's got some curves and stuff, and yeah, so it sort of has a likeness. It's not 100% right, it doesn't have the teardrops and all that sort of stuff, but it gives you the gist of that target site. For me it does anyway. Like when I saw that site and I saw this, I was like, look at that, there's cylinders, it's turning, or there's an inclination to go that way. When I saw these ones, when I've got the structure holding in the circle, I'm thinking, well, these are the gondolas that have been set up and it's going through, and you're going through something. Even though I didn't get the feeling, from the feedback, that's the mapping I'm going to conclude, going forward with the feelings and impressions that you get in a session. So I'm happy with those. Just getting an answer for this one when you don't have a clue. That's why it's exciting to wait for the feedback, because you got all these feelings, you got all these shapes, but you need to put them in some sort of order, and you map it to some sort of impression or sort of thing. And you, for me, I start to find that no matter what turns up in your visions, just draw them down. They'll make sense later, and it'll be a more honest impression and reflection if you draw it honestly on the paper, because once you get that feedback, it puts that impression into context of the picture and why it came out that way. But if you don't draw it honestly, it's you sort of scramble it for a bit, even though you got the insights and you got most of the points that you got in the picture, but you drew it differently. If you draw it more honestly, you'll get a more honest reply from the feedback, I think. That's sort of how I think, is just be honest. I know it's the hardest thing in the world, and you got a lot of doubt, or even I have a lot of doubt. Not a lot, but, you know, it's still there. Anyway, number 8. So we skipped. Where's number 7? All right. So we got number 7. This is the start of the matrix. So we got sensorals, magnitude, topologicals, which are shapes, energetics, subjectives, physical, paraphysical, concepts, symbols, PR, visuals, and giving a go at purpose. I like these ideas. For me, they're just triggers to help me think in that way, in which to focus my attention and awareness in order to get these sort of things. So I like them. I want to add more, just to define things a bit more, you know, words of different meanings. Anyway, sensorals, cold felt on the surface of skin, feels like exposure to air, cool because it's outside. Structural, flat surfaces, AOL building. It's pretty explanatory. Magnitude, words. So when I do magnitude, I do sort of like an echo ping, like a submarine. I go bang and I go ping. And when I go ping, the way it sort of, that feeling of that ping spreads from me out, you can sort of feel the impressions of where it hits within the target space. So when I go ping, I feel something long, flowing in one direction. What have I got? The words I've got here is thin pipe, through, what is this? Tight beside me, only, forward, allowed, one direction, and shape. So I've got this, which I totally think it's either the gondola, the contraption, or the river itself, or one of the rivers. But it's the general gist of the target, which I think it's good. So for magnitude, I just felt everything going forward of me. I felt constrained on the sides, but everything, I could feel the flow of everything. When that ping went, everything went forward and backwards, like a pipe. And you can feel how that ping, it sort of reacts with the target, and you sort of get an echolocation of the target and its surroundings, sort of thing. But for me, it's just the general shape of things. So if anything, it just goes ping, and you can sort of feel these blockages of that energy. That's basically what it is that I'm feeling. Something blocks that energy, so you can feel the blocks. See all these arrows that I've drawn inside, and it hits something. So you do the shape, and you feel where the flow goes, and you just follow it. So you get the general shapes of things as well. So magnitude is cool. All right. Anyway, magnitude, topological. So this one is shapes. This is a visual technique, so basically I go through and I probe. It's probing a spot, or you can probe the dot that I make next to the number, but basically I just probe under topological, and I get shapes popping up, and and this one I got the shape of, looks like this big half horseshoe sort of thing, with bit of a top on it, or something's going up, and I felt compelled to put a person in it. So I can only think the mapping I will do for this one is, as people go into that gondola of that contraption or that lock, they would see sort of like they go through sort of not bridges or anything, but structures, and you might have water going through here in the boat and that sort of thing, and you would go through into this, and from the site you've got like 3 of these which will go over the top of you anyway, or something like that. So from a shapes point of view, I think I got a general gist of the shapes. After that, I've got energetics, so energy, water slide. All right, so for energy, this is my butt. Yes, it's my butt. So my back, my butt, and down my calf muscle, and my foot, and my leg, knee, blah, blah, blah. So when I probed energy of this one, it was really weird. It felt like something was hitting me here, and this was sort of going like, it was sort of like a rolling energy. What have I put? A lot of movement, turbulence, chaos in a small area, then rushing forward and legs down the feet. Feel energy go from back going through legs. And yeah, so that's what I tried to draw in this. It just was like chaos, like little bumps, little balls of energy, little movement, a whole lot of happening here. And in an instant, it would just go rush down my legs. And yeah, I was like, what the hell is that? I've never felt. Well, I actually felt that, and I put the AOL there. It's like the water slide. You sit in there, and the water's hitting you in the back, and next thing, boom, you go sliding, and all that water goes forward of your legs and goes past your legs. It felt pretty much just like that. And that's why I could draw this. I was like, build up, rush down the legs. But it felt more natural if I had my legs out and my foot up, because it felt like it was rushing all in a straight line, not the bend in my legs, right? But anyway, yeah, so that was the energetic side of it. So I'm thinking that impression was when that thing the gondola opens up and lets the boat in, and maybe that's how they let the water in, or that's how the boats get in, or I don't know, but that's what it felt like. Maybe that's how I perceive it. I don't know if that's actually how it's done. Very interesting questions, but that's what I got. And so that's what I got from the water park AOL for that as well. That was a cool one. All right, we've got Symbolics here. So this basically felt like I was like these things towering on each side, and I'm going through this path. I'm traveling through corridor looking hallway. I don't know, it was just tall on each side. And like you can see some of the sky, excuse me. Symbolics. Wait a minute, I haven't done page 8. All right. So subjectives, which is emotions at the site, if you can pick up emotions. Tingling and nervous arms. Top half is nervous. I'm not too sure what the top half is. Maybe it's talking about the gondola that's up high. It could be talking about a person who's in the gondola up high and is nervous. I don't think a gondola would get nervous, but it could be my impression of it being high. Lots to learn. Anyway, subjectives, not much, but top half is nervous. So another height thing, definitely. Physical. So physical, not much to gain from here. I felt a lot of things on the edge in a straight line up the top. I found some big structures in the middle, but nothing concrete. And there was a big structure down here, which I am not too sure. So as far as developing this, it's coming along and things are becoming better. But as far as applying it to the feedback, still a ways to go. But definitely worth having. Shivers going up body when probing physical. If this is... actually. This one... I got shivers every time I tried to probe. And when I tried to pass my arm through this going like that. This part here really wanted to resist my arm, like it was almost slowing it down, like it was always there and it would like drag right across. Something to look at later on, but yeah, it was something different, which definitely needs exploring. Paraphysical. Okay, so this was definitely a floating physical feeling. It felt like I was floating. The same description with that floating tire. Excuse me. It was the same here. It was just paraphysical floating. It was like, okay, so floating water is definitely involved in this target. Don't know yet. Maybe I'm in a tire and people are playing in the water. I don't know. That's why I've got it here, life jacket, because it felt like I was wearing it and I was floating in it. Bouncy, float feeling. Concepts. So converge, flows, air, water, fun, and what I've got here is AOL water park. Yeah, I was thinking water park stuff, but yeah, flows, air, water, fun. Converge. So that could be another word. That's converge is the joining of two into one, which is exactly what this lock is. Yeah. I'll take that up as the purpose. Actually, no, I can't do that. All right, so number 9. Okay, so Symbolics, definitely going through something and things towering on each side. Could be a forest, could be buildings, could be Venice, who knows. Path, corridor, looking hallway. All right, pier, none. Visuals. This is one of the visuals. So I've got sky. I had things coming up beside me, on either side of me. They looked rather uniform as well. I've got here road. I've got a question mark, but I've got travel, definite travel. It just felt like I was traveling through this thing. Visual 2, so I've got a converge, like squeeze. I don't know what that could be, actually. I don't know if anything squeezes anything. It could be just the fact that it's some sort of bridge or who knows. Nothing for the purpose. I tried to give it a go, but hey, that convergence is a good purpose. Guide, funnel, direct. Guide, funnel, direct. So, I don't remember doing this. Guide, funnel, direct. So, really, we're on guided tour. They're being funneled in a river and direct. Bah. But that is cool. I got words. Anyway, so that's number 9. And that's it, guys. So basically, that was the session for the Loch. And it wasn't too bad. We got a lot of curvies. We got a lot of panels. Not a lot of everything, but just a lot more for the database to be had. Definitely getting the floating things sorted. Anxiety, the height definitely coming in. Nervousness, structures, images. They could warrant a symbolic as well. So a lot of these are definitely working out. That one was cool though. Just feeling that was really good. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. And I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.